Chapter 4. Conscientiousness. Having firmly seized bodhicitta in this way, a conqueror's son must never waver. Always should he exert himself to never stray from his practice. In the case of reckless actions or of deeds not well considered, although a promise may have been made, it is fit to reconsider whether I should do them or not. But how can I ever withdraw from what has been examined by the great wisdom of the Buddhas and their sons, and even many times by me myself, if, having made such a promise, I do not put it into action? Then, by deceiving every living being, what kind of rebirth shall I take? If it has been taught by the Buddha that he who does not give away the smallest thing he once intended to give will take rebirth as a hungry ghost, then if I should deceive all beings, after having sincerely invited them to the unsurpassable bliss, shall I take a happy rebirth? Only the omniscient can discern the manner of the action of those who give up bodhicitta but are freed. It is beyond the scope of ordinary thought. This, for a bodhisattva, is the heaviest of downfalls, for should it ever happen, the welfare of all will be weakened. And should others for even a single moment hinder or obstruct his wholesome deeds, by weakening the welfare of all, there will be no end to their rebirth in lower states. For if my being is impaired by destroying the joy of even one creature, then what need is there to mention destroying the joy of creatures vast as space? Thus, those who have the force of bodhicitta, as well as the force of falling from it, stay revolving within cyclic existence, and for a long time are hindered in reaching the bodhisattva levels. Therefore, just as I have promised, shall I respectfully accord my actions. If from now on I make no effort, I shall descend from lower to lower states. Although for the benefit of every creature, countless Buddhas have passed by, yet I was not an object of their care because of my own mistakes. And if I continue to act like this, again and again shall I undergo suffering in unhappy realms, sickness, bondage, laceration, and the shedding of blood. If the arising of a Tathagata, faith, the attainment of a human body, and my being fit to cultivate virtue are scarce, when will they be won again? Although today I am healthy, well-nourished, and unafflicted, life is momentary and deceptive. The body is like an object on loan for but a minute. And with behavior such as this, I shall not win a human body again. And if this human form is not attained, there will be solely evil and no virtue. If, when I have the chance to live a wholesome life, my actions are not wholesome, then what shall I be able to do when confused by the misery of the lower realms? And if I commit no wholesome deeds there, but readily amass much evil, then for 100 million aeons I shall not even hear the words, a happy life. For these very reasons, the Buddha has said that like for a turtle to insert its neck into a yoke adrift upon the vast ocean, it is extremely hard to attain the human birth. If even by the evil of one instant an aeon may be spent in the deepest hell, then because of the evil I have gathered since beginningless time, what need to mention my not going to a happy realm, but having experienced merely that rebirth in hell, I shall still not be liberated, for while it is being experienced, other evil will be extensively produced. So if, when having found leisure such as this, I do not attune myself to what is wholesome, there could be no greater deception, and there could be no greater folly. If, having understood this, I still foolishly continue to be slothful, when the hour of death arrives, tremendous grief will rear its head. Then, if my body blazes for a long time in the unbearable flames of hell, inevitably my mind will be tormented by the fires of unendurable remorse. Having found by some coincidence this beneficial state that is so hard to find, if now, while able to discriminate, I once again am let into the hells, then, as though I were hypnotized by a spell, I shall reduce this mind to nothing. Even I do not know what is causing me confusion, what is there dwelling inside me. Although enemies, such as hatred and craving, have neither arms nor legs, and are neither courageous nor wise, how have I been used like a slave by them. For while they dwell within my mind, at their pleasure they cause me harm. Yet I patiently endure them without any anger. But this is an inappropriate and shameful time for patience. Should even all the gods and asuras rise up against me as my enemies, they could not lead nor place me in the roaring fires of deepest hell. But the mighty foe, these disturbing emotions, in a moment can cast me amidst those flames, which, when met, will cause not even the ashes of the king of mountains, Mount Meru, to remain. All other enemies are incapable of remaining for such a length of time, as can my disturbing conceptions, the long-time enemy, with neither beginning nor end. If I agreeably honor and entrust myself to others, they will bring me benefit and happiness. But if I entrust myself to these disturbing conceptions, in future they will bring only misery and harm. While in cyclic existence, how can I be joyful and unafraid, if in my heart I readily prepare a place for this incessant enemy of long duration, the sole cause for the increase of all that harms me? And how shall I ever have happiness, if in a net of attachment within my mind there dwell the guardians of the prison of cyclic existence, their disturbing emotions that become my butchers and tormentors in hell? Therefore, as long as this enemy is not slain with certainty before my very eyes, I shall never give up exerting myself towards that end. Having become angry at someone who caused only slight and short-lived harm, I will not sleep until my enemy is overcome. And if, while engaged in violent battle, vigorously desiring to conquer those whose disturbing conceptions will naturally bring them suffering at death, men disregard the pain of being pierced by spears and arrows, and will not withdraw until the day is won, then what need to mention that I should not be faint-hearted and slothful, even if I am caused many hundreds of sufferings, when now I strive to definitely overcome my natural enemies, these disturbing conceptions which are the constant source of my misery. If even scars inflicted by meaningless enemies are worn upon the body like ornaments, then why is suffering a cause of harm to me, who impeccably strives to fulfill the great purpose? If fishermen, hunters, and farmers, thinking merely of their own livelihood, endure the sufferings of heat and cold, why am I not patient for the sake of the world's joy? When I promised to liberate all those beings dwelling in the 10 directions as far as the ends of space from their disturbing conceptions, I myself was not yet freed from mine. Thus unaware of my own capacity, was it not somewhat crazy to have spoken like that? But as this is so, I must never withdraw from vanquishing my disturbing conceptions. And to do this will be my sole obsession. Holding a strong grudge, I shall meet them in battle. But disturbing conceptions such as these destroy disturbing conceptions, and, for the time being, are not to be abandoned. It would be better for me to be burned, to have my head cut off, and to be killed, rather than ever bowing down to those ever-present disturbing emotions. Common enemies, when expelled from one country, simply retire and settle down in another, though when their strength is recovered, they then return. But the way of this enemy, my disturbing emotions, is not similar in this respect. Deluded, disturbing conceptions, when forsaken by the eye of wisdom and dispelled from my mind, where will you go? Where will you dwell in order to be able to injure me again? But, weak-minded, I have been reduced to making no effort. If these disturbing conceptions do not exist within the objects, the sense organs, between the two nor elsewhere, then where do they exist, and how do they cause harm to the world? They are like an illusion. Thus I should dispel the fear within my heart and strive resolutely for wisdom. For no real reason, why should I suffer so much in hell? Therefore, having thought about this well, I should try to put these precepts into practice just as they have been explained. If the doctor's instructions are ignored, how will a patient in need of cure be healed by his medicines?